application that I myself sent in, and I'd like to make a couple of introductory remarks. And this is regarding, it's titled "The Protection of the Public, City Staff, and City Councils in City Hall." So at the onset, first of all, I do not have an opinion. I have put this item asking that it start a discussion regarding the implementation of screening by metal detectors of individuals wishing to enter City Hall. I'm not asking for this, I wanted a discussion. And as this issue has progressed a bit, I will candidly tell you I've got quite an education. So, some ground rules, since we do have quite a few people that I think want to speak on this. By our council policy, the discussion is limited to the item on the agenda, which is regarding the metal detectors. We're not talking about the Constitution, we're not talking about the Second Amendment, we're not talking about the tragedy in Connecticut, the right to bear arms, or any of that. It's talking about potential metal detector use for this council chamber. If we drift, I'm going to rule you out of order. As I've gotten quite an education on this subject, I became aware that there are many legal limitations to what a New Hampshire city can do to regulate articles coming in and out of a public building, and also the use of the metal detectors. It's not up to us, and the city attorney is going to speak to this, it's not up to us as a municipality to decide we can only do what is enabled by state legislation. So too much discussion about what is possible at the local level, frankly, is a waste of time if it is not allowed or enabled by the state. I've also become aware, after speaking with the bailiffs that operate those metal detectors for the benefit of the court, that not anyone can sit there and operate these things. They have to be specially trained and certified, not even just police officers. Special training, oh good, he's here. Special training is required to operate them. It's not just one individual, it's multiple individuals to operate it. And in speaking with the city manager, we have no budget to do this, so this is going to take an appropriation if it's going to go anywhere. Therefore, since we are limited as to what it is possible to do under New Hampshire state law, please bear that in mind. It'll be an interesting discussion, but it's going to probably be a reasonably short discussion. So anyone who speaks, I'm definitely going to request that they limit their remarks to certainly no more than 5 minutes, and this entire discussion to no more than 30 minutes. So having said all of this, I'd like to ask the city attorney for some comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an issue, as you know, that a lot of municipalities are dealing with. It came to light here in the city when the courthouse requested that the metal detectors, for lack of a better word, be installed in the foyer. The courts are able to do that because they have specific statutory authority which allows them to do that, frankly. The foyer and the stairway and the foyer outside of the courtroom are within what's called the curtilage of the court, and the statute allows the court to install that unit down there and to monitor what comes in. As a result of that monitoring, they're also monitoring by happenstance people who enter into the city hall for other purposes. As you know, at 4 o'clock or 4:30 thereabouts, when the court shuts down and this room reverts to its traditional use as the council chambers, those individuals leave and the machine is turned off. At that point, we fall back under state law with respect to municipal rights in this area. And for all intents and purposes, the state has reserved to itself the right to control the use, possession, transportation, sale, regulation of firearms. And until such time as that changes on the state level, I would suggest to you that you could certainly install one of these detectors, and all it would do is tell you that somebody was carrying something into the building, and you would wish them a nice day as they went upstairs. That's about all I have to say on the subject.
Comments from the committee? And then I'll open to
had one of those, it was a tough day. City at the State House and the school board and back from Nicholas Green in one day. I think the city attorney put it quite eloquently concerning the state's requirements and limitations on the use of firearms, and I think also it's extremely important that when we look at it, we don't do something, quote, out of fear or haphazard, and we sit down and we look at this logically while ensuring that we get the greatest protection possible without going across people's individual rights. And with the city council and with the chief of police, I think we'd be doing that, and I feel quite safe being up here, and I'm pretty sure that the majority of the people feel quite safe. And I think the people that come and visit us should feel quite safe to visit us and yell at us if necessary.
Thank you. Anything further from the committee? Any members of the public or other?
I'm Ian Freeman, 73 Lever Street. So, Mitch, when we talked on Talkback the other day, you had said that you don't support this, so I was surprised to hear you say you didn't have an opinion tonight. It is definitely fear-based, and you know, in the aftermath of the whole Bearcat controversy, I think that the last thing we need is more fear-based mentality and decision-making coming from the city council. And many of you might be familiar with the TSA. They have security procedures that are in place at all the airports across the country. Statistics are down. People aren't flying. People are choosing to drive somewhere rather than fly because they don't like the indignancy or the violations that they feel when they're going through these security checkpoints. And I know that constantly I hear on Talkback and from the city council that you guys wonder why people don't attend these meetings. Well, if you put security procedures in place, it's going to dissuade people even further from wanting to come out here and speak their minds. And beyond that, it's ultimately security theater. Even the security that they use during the day for the court is security theater. If someone wanted to hurt the judge, it would just be a matter of being outside of the courthouse. In the same way that New Hampshire is a very safe place, people are allowed to carry weapons in most places here in this state. And I think that it's pretty clear that the fact that folks are free to defend themselves helps keep everybody safer. So appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm David, and I live in Marlborough Street, Keene.
Last name, please.
Crawford.
Thank you.
I was happy to hear Chris Roberts say that he's not afraid of the public and stuff, and I'm glad of that because I think putting those things in would send a wrong message and to the public and the people that want to participate and have a say. And you should be encouraging people to have their input and not discouraging it. And so I was glad to hear what Chris said. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Someone further? It is an open meeting, so if you'd like to share some thoughts.
Good evening, James Cleveland, 173 Washington Street. I had a question, I guess, for the county attorney, if I may.
You gotta speak to
Technically, talk to me, to him.
Okay. So
Same difference. Yes, please go ahead.
I had a
Ask the
question
city
about,
attorney.
he had mentioned the foyer, like if they put metal detectors down there. I was wondering, like, is it legal to carry a weapon into like the lobby, or is that illegal?
City attorney.
Mr. Chairman, I've already stated my opinion with respect to this, and if there's any further questions, I suggest that they bring it to the state legislature at this point.
Okay, I was just a little bit confused, like, is it a public place or not? Because I can carry, let's say, a weapon on the street, on a sidewalk. It's generally not a problem. I'm just confused whether this building is a public place or not.
As I've been told, and I'm not the legal authority on this, the court system does have the ability to restrict firearms. And this is a courtroom. When the court is in session, therefore, you cannot bring it in.
What if your purpose of coming to this building is not to go to court, though?
Is that an attorney question, or is that a court
Mr.
question?
Chairman, quite frankly, I'd rather not engage in a debate, but let me be fairly succinct about it. Under the statute, under the state law in New Hampshire, public buildings, with certain exceptions, which I won't go into at this point, but don't necessarily apply here, may not prohibit individuals from carrying firearms within the building unless there's some other statute that applies. So, for all intents and purposes, you can carry a firearm in New Hampshire.
Yes.
Just for quick clarification, Mick, when court is in session, this is no longer the city hall.
This is a courtroom.
It's a courtroom, and all the rules of the court apply.
Apply here, apply to the foyer up front, apply to the stairway down below, apply to the foyer in the base, in the front hall where you walk in, which is why they were able, under their statutory authority, to place their systems in our foyer.
I think that hopefully answers your question.
So what, I mean, that seems like it's a really slippery slope, though, because what if they expanded the building, to house more of the city services? So, I don't know, if there's a service where it's not in this building at the moment, but it was moved here, then basically you're not allowed to carry a weapon during court hours, is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, those are questions that need to be directed to the court.
Okay.
I have to agree to that, yes.
Well, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to participate in the discussion at this point? Committee, anyone have anything? Okay, well, as the writer of the submitter of this letter, again, maybe just to clarify a comment that I did make on the radio in response to Keene's question. I submitted this at the request of several employees, which I thought made sense, and I thought that with the detectors downstairs, the short answer was, yes, this makes a lot of sense. It's an easy fix. And as I've come to be educated on the subject, it is not an easy fix. I like your expression of security theater, because I do think that does apply. It does appear to me that nothing is going to happen this evening on this, and I won't make the motion, but I think as far as this can go at this time, to accept my letter as informational, and pretty likely there's going to be some state legislative action coming, and we will be asked to take a position on that as part of our annual advising our state legislators. So I think that's about as far as I would see it going, but it'll take a motion from someone else to act on my
Ready to make the motion?
if you like.
I'd like to make a motion that the FOP committee accepts Councilor Greenwald's letter concerning metal detectors of individuals entering the city hall to visit upper floor offices and city council chambers as information.
Second. Anything further? Comments from public, staff? Not staff, sorry. Committee. Okay, all in favor? We would be 5-0 at this point. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for participating. Okay, now the next item on our agenda that was passed over is regarding the airport. This is a memorandum from our airport director, Green River Maintenance and Flight Center LLC. There's a lease renewal and discussion.
Good evening, Ed Matter, Airport Director. The item before you this evening has to do with lease negotiations that Council authorized a number of months ago. For 10+ years, Green River Maintenance and Flight Center has been operating at the airport. Leases an administration building and a common hangar, in which place they operate a flight school and a maintenance operation. In exchange for approximately $30,000 in repair, Green River was provided consideration in a reduced rental rate some 10 years ago, again in exchange for those improvements to the city-owned buildings. Subsequent to a 10-year period, we believe that the improvements, the $30,000 improvements, is essentially run their course. So we wanted to look at the potential of charging what might be termed as fair market rent for those facilities. Towards that end, we engaged the assistance of the city's assessor to come and evaluate the buildings and to give us an opinion as to what the fair market rent might be for those two structures. This was Laura Thibodeau at the time. She did provide her opinion. Her opinion was then examined by the new city assessor, Norm Bernash, who essentially validated the work that Laura had done. And we used those numbers as a basis to